There is a moment in every life when you decide to rise, to stand taller than your fear, to speak louder than your doubt, to chase the vision that sets your soul on fire. This is that moment. And here, we walk it together with stories that awaken, voices that inspire, and truths that set you free. This is Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where hope has a voice, and that voice is yours. And today, that voice may be in Spanish. I don't know. We'll see. But we've got a great show for you today. And Meghan is with us, and Brachelle. And you get to introduce Meghan in her native, no, it's not a native tongue for either of you. But she is in Mexico, and Meghan is. But Brachelle, how are you?
I'm so good. I love that we're ending today talking about how important it is to have a message, but also you could be wearing that. So we have Meghan Higney here with us today. I love saying that. Please ask me to say that the entire time of the show. And go to her website, which happens to be exactly that, wearmessage.com. And yes, she even was so kind inside of her soul to have sent me a pair, and I don't have them with me. But stay tuned with us if you're used to watching our show, because I will be talking about it the moment I put them on my feet. So welcome, Meghan. How are you?
Thank you. I'm so good. So
Hey,
happy to be both.
Brachelle, I got to ask you, are you flexible enough to be sitting in like you are and to raise your foot so that we can see it on camera?
Oh yeah, I got you. I might have to maybe pay my toenails a little bit. With my little baby feet, but yes, I will be showing them. So keep listening to every single show to listen to my input on those. I already know I'm gonna love them, and it is because there's a message behind all this, Meghan. So tell us about that.
Oh gosh, I mean, that's big. Yes. So I launched Message really just 2.5 years ago, but I've been building it for many more. And it's a footwear brand, and it's really about comfort, starting from the ground up. But the message is much bigger. It's about a belief that being comfortable in our bodies, on our bodies, allows us to truly be comfortable in this life that we're constantly navigating and learning how to live in a really true and authentic way to ourselves. So for me, that started with freeing my toes, but it's really about figuring out what that quest for freedom, in our lives looks like.
So this is much more than a shoe company or a shoe manufacturer. This is a passion and a dream that supersedes all of that to a much bigger purpose, doesn't it?
Yeah, completely. I mean, just the path to even letting myself build that brand was a path of, growth, of really coming into truth with my passion, what I want to do, what gets me up in the morning. I was very much on, I went into finance. I was in private equity. I was running other people's businesses. On paper, that all looked, and frankly, and many times felt a lot safer than I'm launching my own brand. I'm building a shoe company. I don't know anything about shoes when I started to get into the business. I, of course, love learning, and I fell in love with learning about our feet, and I love fashion. So I brought in, everything from, folks that are podiatrists, podorthists, but then also fashion designers. I brought all these people together, but I didn't know about shoes. So it was a real, the journey to even allow myself to build this brand was kind of the entire point. It was freeing myself to do the thing that I'd always dreamed of doing, but seemed like maybe a little bit crazy, at the time.
Yeah.
Did your family and friends say, Meghan, I love your passion, but that's friggin' crazy. Have you lost your mind?
Kind of, a little bit. Almost worse is when they don't say it, but you can feel it. There's right. It's in the pause, in the question around, okay, this is great, but might you go back to that really stable salary. It's what brought me to Mexico. I was 2 kids in private school and a mortgage in the Bay Area, and I didn't take a salary for years. Like, that doesn't work. And it ultimately has built this incredible life for us out here, and we love it. But yeah, no, it's the quintessential, people think you're crazy until you're a genius, right?
And you've become a sudden overnight success that took years in the making.
So yes, exactly.
May tend to feel. So Meghan, when learning about, let alone the shoes and the fabric and everything you chose to use, what are some things that you learned about our health and our feet, and why you chose to stay so steady in this vision that you had?
Thank you for that question. Usually people don't geek out with feet with me. They're like, okay, I've
learned so much. Just take your feet off and go stand in the dirt.
Yeah, they're like, oh, good, there's a bigger message. Let's talk about the message, good on feet. No, I really got into it because I'm sure you've heard of the barefoot foot movement, right?
Yes.
The barefoot movement is really about, how do we give more space for our toes, have a zero drop surface, allow our feet to do what they were meant to do. Now, what I had experienced and what I had read a lot as I started researching was that, of course, it's kind of like all those diets, right? Like paleo, eat like our, ancestors. But the truth is our feet have adapted to surfaces. And so for some people, actually, barefoot really hurts their feet. They have an arch that needs some arch support. What many of the comfort shoe companies, basically, decades ago out of Europe, I could call out the names, but I don't want to throw them under the bus. But what we've come to understand is the comfort shoe movement, right? Kind of like putting the UGG in comfort, little ugly comfort shoes. They really fixated on the orthotic piece of our footbeds. So there's a lot of arch support. Something in between is actually what's best for most of our feet. So I kind of got obsessed as this outsider who kind of felt like I can be innovative and I can play, like I said, bringing experts around and really figuring out how can we give the benefits of barefoot, but also the benefits of subtle, very subtle anatomical support, which is not overly orthotic, but actually supports the majority of our feet better. And so that became the premise of, our bare cork shoe design. And so together with that kind of science and then materials, I really obsessed over cork. Now, cork is in some of, I often say we're like a modern Birkenstock, right? So people were like, really, cork? That's Birk. But the truth is, cork is an amazing material in terms of all of its properties. Why does it protect wine the way that it does? Anti-moisture, microbial, all the things, right? It's great for our feet. It's great for the planet. Cork trees you don't cut down. You cut the bark off the trees. So it's actually a carbon negative material. So I really obsessed with it, but I wanted to use it differently. And so I obsessed over how to make it water resistant, because all these other ones had animal products. You couldn't get them wet. So it was really this science of your feet, science of materials, and then how do I make it minimal so that I really want to wear it and run out the door and look good and feel chic. And that was kind of it was a couple of years journey, obsession, ended up patenting the technology, and it feels like a hug, like nothing you've ever put on your feet. So that's
I can't wait to put them on my feet.
Speaking out, that'll be all I say about feet, but it's a real thing. It feels our bodies, the support does start from our feet. And we're going to launch a foot roller, a little cork foot roller. We just want to make comfort and foot love sexy, because it actually really does change your posture and how your body is feeling throughout the day.
Okay, so I'm not done talking about feet.
Okay,
and you just said you started in on these key things, and that's exactly where I was going. So what benefits does it have when we're paying attention to what we're wearing on our feet?
Well, I'm endless, right? So there's the actual anatomical, so your posture, how you're holding yourself. It starts at the ankles, to the knees, to the hips, to your back. All of that starts with how you're connected to the ground, right? And so I'm still an advocate for take your shoes off and go walk, in the grass, right? The whole earthing movement, like that is real. Get it. And most of us cannot walk barefoot on the surfaces that we navigate every day. And so, being grounded in your body in a way that feels good is just good for your health, full stop, right? That's good for your body. There's like, a ton of stuff with our shoe. We actually have a compression element because this is the patented knit piece, which that, as we know, compression socks, right? Anything that is ultimately reducing swelling, increasing circulation. This is all really good for after sports. If you're standing on your feet all day. I mean, I pride myself. We have nurses that reach out and are like, oh my God, I love these, and that's not why I made them, but it's cool to hear that it works for people in that way. So there's all the practical, but then for me, a huge part of this was I just was obsessed with slides. I was like, why tie up a sneaker when I'm running out to take the kids to school or going to yoga when I'm going to take my shoes off, like if I could just wear a slide. But all the slides were rubber, nasty for the planet, not good for my body, heavy leather, couldn't get them away, all the things. And so for me, it was also about just when you put something on that you feel good in, that you can be yourself in, that you're low to the ground, that you're comfortable in your person, that actually matters, right?
And it's convenient.
It's convenient, but it's also like it's showing up as you. Like I had people when I used to be, sometimes the only woman in the boardroom, and I was pretty young too. I had my colleagues would joke like, oh, we know it's a big meeting because Meg's wearing heels. But that started to mean something to me that I wasn't proud of because it was like I was having to dress up for something.
Yep.
Right. And so it became this power move where I was like, no, I wear slides. And I make them look good and I can still be in my power in slides. And that was a big element too of starting this brand. It was about, what I said in the beginning, like looking as good as you feel allows you to feel as good as you look, it goes together. Kevin's like, okay, maybe this one we got you on, Kevin.
There you go, Kevin.
Because the first job I ever had was a lady shoe salesman at Nordstrom. And I was 18 years old.
Come on.
No, honestly, because my dad was an executive with Nordstrom and he said, well, you need to do something. So here, do that. And I have no fashion sense. I'm one of those guys that other than the fact that I bought Burchell a pair of sneakers, I could not tell what she ever put on her feet. I don't look at people's feet. I have no earthly idea. But the only thing that and you said it is when I was really young and my feet were smaller, my sister made me wear high heels that my mom had. I can't imagine how you guys even walk in those damn things. So it's really bad and stuff. So but I gotta ask you, your whole program was that you decided you wanted to make shoes, but then you had to go through this process of finding out, okay, what kind of shoe? How are we going to put it together? What materials are we going to use? Did you know any of this before you began, or was this all came with a 3 o'clock in the morning idea? I think I'm going to manufacture shoes, and then you had to go figure out how you were going to do it.
Yeah, the latter. I think I had been running a couple of people's consumer brands with them. So I knew about manufacturing in the beauty space and then in the food space. Very different than shoes and footwear. But when I saw or felt or lived this market opportunity that, it just was very palpable to me. I was at yoga, downward dogging with all these very chic people in their expensive yoga getups. And then I'm walking out the door and there's Cubbies, and they're just full of dirty Uggs, dirty Birks, some Crocs. And I'm like, where's like, what? Like, we're caring about what we're, putting on our athleisure, whatever, on our bodies. And we're not actually, we don't care about what we're putting on our feet, which is the thing that supports us, in all of this exercise, work, movement through the day that we're doing. Like it just clicked, to your point, right? That was my 3 a.m. It was like, okay, I know that I've been obsessed with slides my whole life. I was a soccer player. I know that I know how to, I know how to build a brand and put good product in front of people. But no, I did not know shoes. And I didn't know how hard shoes are. There's definitely a positive kind of barrier to entry element, right? It took me years. A lot of people, you could go into a factory and you could say, hey, I want to make a sandal, a slide, pull out the lasts is what they're called. It's basically the shape of a foot. Pull out the ones that you have produced and let me play with them. And then you basically aren't a shoe designer. You're just a designer because you're building on someone else's, kind of base and premise. For me, and everything we talked about, we built that all from the ground up. And so, yes, that ended up being a real kind of geeky exercise in now we have the chance to do this in this decade. How are we going to do it differently? What do we know? What have we learned? And bring, I had a guy who used to build sneakers with Bill Bowerman at Nike, advised me on this. And we did some different riffs and rounds of building a last. So I just brought all these people around it. And I flew out to Portugal and met with manufacturers. And I was told, no, that's impossible. I can't do that. No, that's impossible. I can't do that. Right up until I found the one I'm working with, 3rd generation factory. And we did turns, multiple to try to get it right. I want to be able to put this in the washing machine. You're crazy. Okay. Well, then I don't have a product. I'm only doing it if I can do this different and better. I want to do this so I can take this apart, so I can eventually have an upcycle program, because shoes don't have a good resale market, right? So people, right? People aren't looking to buy. It's waste. And so I built it with that in mind. It took a long time, but that was honestly, if I'm honest, that was the most fun part. You hear founders say that sometimes, like the pre-launch is when it's like it's when your baby, it's like before you step out with your baby or something, or you're still in the hospital with nursing support or something,
Exactly.
I can't wait to throw those slides in the washer. Everybody, if you want to see for yourself what in God's name we are talking about, go to wearmessage.com. That's WEAR message.com. She has so many options, so many choices, and so many reasons why you need to have a pair of these for yourself. So stay with us, everybody. We'll be right back from our first break, and we've got more questions to come.
And one of the things that I am sure that Meghan has a lot of is integrity. Here's another point to ponder from Positive Talk Radio. What is the easiest thing to justify? It is a small transgression. The one no one will ever see, no one will ever know. The tiny exaggeration on the expense report. The extra minute you took on your lunch break. The packaging you tossed in the wrong recycle bin because it was closer. In those moments, the question isn't, will I get caught? The question is, will I know? It isn't about avoiding punishment. It's a silent agreement you make with yourself when you choose to do the right thing. To return the wallet. To fix the mistake. To respect the empty space. You aren't impressing the world. You're earning your own respect. That small choice, made entirely in private, is how you build a life you never have to look away from. The only audience that matters is you. And welcome Welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Rochelle is right there, and I'm going to let you say Megan's full name because you love saying it so much.
Yes, we have Meghan Higney here. Go and visit her website and check out these shoes. Get some for yourself. You can't die just by trying it. Wearmessage.com is the website. And Meghan, I have to share with you, one of my first jobs, I think I may have been about 17, and I worked at Payless in the back of a Shopco. And I learned so much about people through their shoes. But you'd see people buying different kinds of shoes as if it was, you got a pair to match all the outfits. But this is something you can just really be wearing anything and throw on going out the door to feel good, look good in, and also know that it has health benefit towards you. And I think that could change somebody's personality in and of itself, because shoes are a part of our everyday life. And we just throw them on and do and go, and we don't pay attention to it very much.
And then nothing makes you in a bad mood like when your feet hurt.
Yes. Oh, Lord, don't get me started talking about feet hurting, right? And we all go through that. And that's an even better point, is there's so many, especially of us women, we love our shoes. Are we comfortable in them? Not at all. Did you experience the same thing and the same thoughts of, am I even comfortable in the shoes that I actually do love?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the whole premise. It was a compromise for me, right? I was making an inherent compromise to either like feel good, and then it felt like I was throwing in the towel on my style, my fashion, how I walked out the door, or I felt like I looked good and then I was highly uncomfortable. And that inherent compromise was pretty baffling to me in 2020. Like, how is that even possible? Come on, folks. And of course, I learned it was not easy. There was a lot of attention to detail in terms of how to make this more minimal. I joked about the ugly comfort shoe movement. And that's a thing, right? You like Crocs and like this, like big and bulky, and it's fine. And look, all in the eye of the beholder, right? That's a subjective thing. But I was really clear. I want this to be something that, can be either super minimal and can basically just like disappear and be your best accessory because it's comfortable, it's supporting you, and it's not like making a statement you don't want to make, right? Like a lot of people are like, I'm not a Birkenstock person. Because what does that represent? Play with colors and patterns, and we really have a perspective, like I have a lot of people on the team that are, I mean, I don't look at right now, but that are like highly fashionable people. And we spend a lot of time, look right now, our fall winter 26 collection, we put together all these color swatches, pattern play. And then we saw Ralph Lauren just came for a men's runway that hasn't been done in a long time. And we're like, oh, hold the phones, like it's our mood board. And so it's really fun to bring those two things together. And I'm learning, to Kevin, your point, and Rochelle, your point around like, look, at the end of the day, yes, what we put on our bodies does impact how we feel. It just does, right? And whether or not we want to give a ton of weight to that or not, like, I think the simplicity and the effortlessness that I designed this with the intention for someone to be able to pick up and not have to think about putting on and feeling good about, the merch that we're going to launch to kind of build a uniform. I'm like a baseball cap and slide and a scarf, and it's an outfit, and people think like fire. And I'm like, dude, I'm in pajamas is the real truth. Right. So there's something to that in this world where there's a lot like constantly being thrown at us about everything we can do more, better, improve, self-care. There's just so much. And I think there was a big part of this for me that was like, can we just take some of those options like off the table and give them something easy that's done for them?
Yeah.
Megan, you mentioned you have a team.
Yeah.
And I have a team as well.
Mm.
And I have to tell you, not a day goes by that I am eternally grateful for my team, for Brachelle and the folks on the back end. But at the same time, I'm eternally grateful that I've been able to impact a lot of other people in a very positive way with creating positive talk in everything that I'm doing. Do you have that same feeling of accomplishment because you are changing people's lives who work with you?
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I'd be curious, like, what your driving goal is when you think about your team, and your purpose, and if that extends to your customers. I think mine is sort of one and the same. It's like,
Mhm.
I want to create a working space where we can bring our whole selves to work. I worked in so many environments where I felt like I could bring part of me and the rest wasn't allowed. And so for that, I mean, it's such a gift to work with people where we are on the same energetic wavelength. We check in before we dive in, but we do great work. It's not, we're not getting the job done. And I think that whole person philosophy is what I'm talking about relative to message. It's like, you don't have to want to look good and walk out the door in your heel. You can be your grounded, comfortable, authentic self in this one package. And so I think that I think that's a part of the reason why we go off and we do our own thing, right? To impact that change, to feel that every day, and to show up as ourselves and hope that the ripple touches someone.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. And by the way, there are people that are listening to us right now, and there are women that have been saying, my feet hurt. I don't like what I'm wearing. I really want to have something that I can wear that's better for me. Brachelle, if somebody wants to go look at her website, how do they do it?
Yes, they go to wearmessage.com, and that's WEAR, wearmessage.com. And it's, I just can't believe that if there's not purpose behind something, then it shows. And what Kevin was saying is so crucial. And I'm so glad that he pointed that out to you, because what you're doing is it's building something more than just a shoe or just the way it makes people feel or any of that, because it's long lasting and it's in the eye of the beholder in that way. If I buy that shoe, I already feel the weight taken off of me of what outfits I can match it with, how comfortable I'm going to be, how good I look, and the fact that the damn thing lasts you. You can put it in the washer. I can't get over that, Megan. The whole figuring out how to wash that thing. I mean, there's a lot of shoes you can throw and you can wash and you can get a bucket and scrubby dub, but it will never be the same. So I'm just excited to actually wear them and get them dirty so that I can wash them.
Yes.
Scrub a dub.
Scrub a
I haven't heard that forever.
I love that. No,
I
you're
love
exactly right, Rochelle. We literally just had someone on Instagram send us a picture. They sent a picture of their Birkenstocks at 4 months old, their messages at 23 months old. So they got us when we launched. And it's pretty amazing. I know. And so there is something, there's the tangible, there's the intangible. It's the whole package, but it's what we bring to it. It's like, Kevin, the first time I got on the phone with you, just your voice, I was like, I want to give him a hug. The package of the individual you, what you bring. Yeah. And I think I'm trying my best to bring whatever my unique perspective is, on the world, on our lives, what we're navigating, our journeys. I'm trying to bring that to people through an actual product they can put on their feet.
Well, and even more than that, you are impacting the culture of your company, and it is creating a culture of inclusion and taking care of each other. Because today we were going to have we were having a meeting, and I didn't get into the meeting quite early enough, and the team was talking about, I don't know, me, because I've have a challenge going on in my life right now, and they were talking about me and how they could help. I was totally unsolicited. It wasn't something like, okay, can you guys help me figure out how I can? It was, and at one point they said, we're not ready to have you in the meeting yet. Go away. Because we're talking about you.
It's so good. It's so good.
Makes, and because it's reciprocal, and you are and have you ever thought, and I got to ask you this because I think about this all the time. I thought about this yesterday and today when we're doing this show, it's like, Meghan, do you realize that we're doing this show and I created this program, this forum, and everything about it? None of us would be here if I hadn't done that. But at the same time, if Rochelle wasn't here, if my back end team wasn't here, none of this would happen. And so it has to be humbling for you to recognize all the work that you've done, all the things that you've done, and it's going to be very successful. It's humbling, the effect that you get to have on other people. I want everybody to experience that.
Yes, for sure. Sometimes it's, I'm sure the same for you. Sometimes it's just kind of pinch me gratitude moments, right? Like you just really have to be with, I understand. I've worked with, entrepreneurs my entire career. And I know that sometimes there's that like chip, on the shoulder because they are working against all odds sometimes, and it's them, it's their belief, it's their, persistence that allows this show to exist, that allows this brand to exist. And you have to hold that and that, sort of reverence for yourself and your journey right there alongside the fact that there's no possible way you would do it without all of the people around you, in your personal life, holding that faith, or, just being there for you in the moments, or in your work, practically speaking. Liam last night was joking about someone who works very closely with me, and he's like very organized, tech organized. I can be like a hot mess sometimes. And Liam was literally talking, my partner was talking about how just incredible it is to think that I would not be doing the things I'm doing if I didn't have that other person. So it's like, you have to hold both. Like, yes, I held the belief, and these new people that are coming in are bringing their special, and we wouldn't be what we are without them. And they have to then take on the brand and the message for themselves. That's the goal, not to just emulate mine. I mean, I'm sure you and Rochelle have found that with this, right? She probably has her own, relationship to it.
And she's going to have her own podcast here pretty quick too. But and we need to take a break, and we're going to be back with Meghan in just a moment. But I just want to say it is reciprocal, because you have created this, and the universe is providing you. And I want your opinion on this when we come back. In my world, the universe is providing me with the right person that I need at exactly the right time. And if they're not, magically they go away and they're replaced by somebody who is. Has that been your experience in building this company? I would be curious to know. And we'll be right back after this. Rochelle, her website again, please.
wearmessage.com, WEAR, wearmessage.com. Go check it out and pick your favorite ones, and we'll be right back.
And I just learned today that she does a killer Southern accent. I'm going to make her do it before the show ends. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Brushwood Media Network, the best in syndicated talk, news, and entertainment shows.
Here's another point to ponder by Positive Talk Radio. The world doesn't need more noise. Everyone knows we have enough of that. What we need is more listening, because listening creates understanding. Listening builds bridges, and listening reminds people that they matter. Real progress happens when we slow down long enough to hear one another, not to fix, not to judge, just to understand someone else's point of view. When conversations are rooted in respect and humanity, they have the power to heal, inspire, and move people forward. That's our mission. That's why we're here. I hope you'll join us. And welcome back to Positive Talk. My name is Kevin, and Brachelle, the Southern Belle, is right there. Hey, Brachelle, the Southern Belle. Hey, I like how that sounds. And would you introduce our guest because you love saying her name so much?
Yes, Meghan Higney is here, everybody. Go visit her website, which is wearmessage.com. And Whitney, my mom just texted me. She said, you got a package from her today. So I am going to promise you that the moment we're done here, I'm going to drive my happy little butt over there and I'm going to put those things on and probably never take them off. But Kevin, you had a question. Do you want to re-ask?
I was so long ago.
Are you serious? Even I remember.
I remember.
Then you repeat it, Brachelle.
Oh, damn. Well, I don't know if I can say it in the same words that you did. But I believe what he was saying about having.
I know. I remember now. I remember.
Do you want me to repeat it and then answer?
Take a shot, Kevin. Let's see.
See how close I am to the original thing. It is that I have found that in my working life and doing this, amongst other things, that the right people, because I work every day to be pure of heart, pure of mind, pure of thought, pure of soul. And so the universe provides me with what I need, and the people who I need to show up at the right time, they just do, and they become a significant part of what we are doing. And I'm sure that happens to you in your business all the time.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I think the key, I would say, is as I have slowed down, as I have gotten more in touch with just how this business really sort of has a growth path of its own, right? When I first started, I wanted it to be completely in sync with mine. And I was holding on for dear life. And I wanted things to go faster, and I wanted to be here, and I wanted to be there. And as you know, and you can imagine, that meant that I was experiencing fewer of those synchronicities, right? Because I was forcing something that wasn't flowing. And now I really feel in the past couple of years, I have learned so much in my journey of building message that has aligned to my own journey of really surrendering, right? Surrendering to what was always going to be and the flow of the universe, and why the slides landed at Brachelle's door today. And with that surrender is where I have noticed things dropping into place exactly as they were meant to. This year, I just started working with someone who I was just really put out the energy of like, this is exactly what I need, what I want. Blah, blah. And it turned out that a friend of mine living here in San Miguel in Mexico, who I did not know what she did for work, which I love. And I really pride myself on that, right? Like, we did not talk work. It just turned out like she was the one. And it was exactly, what needed to come into her life when it did. And it was exactly what needed to come into mine, and messages. And so more of that, yes. And more being open to letting that happen, because I've definitely been in a place in my life where I've blocked the energy that wants to flow like that.
And it is a natural flow. And Brachelle has got a beautiful way of describing surrender. Would you do that for us, please?
Yes, I learned quickly, Meghan, that it's like that when you think of holding onto a rose bush, and how simple it is to let go. But I learned, even though some people say it doesn't make sense, when you surrender, you gain full control, because you can allow whatever comes and flows and goes. And you're seeing it from a different perspective to say, yes, I want to fully embrace this. Maybe I want to only take a part of this or a half of that. And like you just said, things start happening that you're like, this is what I've been chasing, but the attraction of it is now available through that flow. And through this process, I couldn't imagine that there was a point in time when you were like, is this even worth it? Do I even want to keep doing this? and maybe you lost touch in that with yourself. Did you have somebody that was a part of your team or that was a part of the work that you were doing that was like, Meghan, let me remind you where we started and where we're at now, because where we're going to go, we can't imagine.
Yes. Well, first, I love that about surrender. And I completely agree that it's not about control. It's about releasing control. But in releasing it, you end up feeling more of it, right?
Yes,
and not
100%.
control in the like graspy control way, but control in terms of, I was just talking about this today with someone. For me, I almost experience it like things are slowing down. Like I was always like sprinting on my toes. I couldn't keep up, and that the surrender kind of allows it to be, you can be in that flow. You can watch the cars pass. You can choose when to cross the street, right? And that kind of.
Well, you all of a sudden just have control of yourself when you were trying to give it away the whole time.
The whole time. That's exactly right. So I love that. And yes, for me, it's been my partner, honestly, which is just so amazing. The father of my kids, he had every reason in the world to talk me out of this at certain steps. I mean, we've done this without raising money. We have given all of our life savings. Like, it's very tight to run an inventory business that's growing fast without, other capital. Like, it's been really scary at times. And he, as we talked about earlier, you can feel those questions from people who love you that are like, are you sure you want to be doing this? And he was always such a pull, reminding me where it started, where we are now, where we know it's going. He's just always held that belief. He has such a like deep rooted trust and belief center that when I would waver sometimes, there was a lot of fear that I've moved through in this process. He stood very strong for me, for us, for Message. So that's been really cool to see, because he arguably was like, he was closest to the stress. He was I emptied the bank account, like he was the one who had a vested interest in being the most vested interest in being like, cool, we should tap out now. And he's just been so solid.
Congratulations. I'm glad you have him.
Thank you.
Exactly. It's a very instructive moment because now in my case, it was the exact opposite. It was, what in the hell are you doing? You can't do that. And you're never going to make any money doing that. Nobody's going to listen to you anyway. And by the way, I don't like your voice and all of that. And
it's me or that.
It was one of those. And so it turned out to be that and not me, which is why I like to say I was married for 24 years. It was the best 6 months of my life, because it wasn't a very, it ended up, because when you have a passion and your partner doesn't share that passion with you, it makes you make a decision either to give that up. Because if I was still married to her, I would not be sitting here talking to Meghan and Brachelle right now. And this is my passion. This is my life. This is my legacy. And I wouldn't have it any other way. So if you are somebody that you're partnering with somebody that is passionate about what they're doing, my advice is get the hell on board or get the hell out of the way. What do you think about that, Meghan?
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, passion, it's something you can't really describe. You can't, it just is, right? And purpose and that fire and that knowing, all of our internal instinctual knowing, what we are supposed to be doing and bringing and shining our lights in this life. Like, it's kind of, if you're not getting on board in that in partnership, it's kind of like, what are you getting on board with? That is, I think that's the whole idea. I want him in this case, to shine his brightest light, and we'll support him, in walking the path to do that. And he's doing the same for me. And that might look bumpy along the way. It does, it has. And we are happier than we've ever been. that's another piece, right? Which is a whole other conversation around what is success and what is, what drives happiness.
Well, you're
And
not dimming
he
each
is
other's
so damn
light.
happy with you. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Rochelle.
Yeah, he has to be happy because there's what you just said is a major, and I don't know why it clicked something in my mind, but when you are around people and you're shining your light, it doesn't mean you're dimming the people around you. Your light should spark other people's light and keep it vibrational and glowing. And yeah, some days maybe that flame will be a little bit less and the other person can pick that up, or you could just be less together, a little bit more together some days. But I'm so happy that you have that, Megan, and thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of us chase that in our entire lives, is like, okay, we want to do all these things, but even if we're still following our purpose and our passion, we tend to be alone, and it doesn't have to be that way. So congratulations, both of you.
Yes. Thank you.
I would love to be your kid too. Oh my gosh. They're going to do crazy, amazing things.
That's a whole nother conversation. It's so cool to see, to have your kids. I've had my kids at our factory in Portugal, and my son, okay, I've got an idea for a slide, and just seeing that creation energy in them that I remember having when I was a kid, but it was like, I don't know, go do your assignments, to be able to model that is a very cool thing too.
We need to take our final break, and when we come back, I want to ask Megan, did you 5 years ago, 7 years ago, think that you would end up sitting in Mexico, having some agua, talking to us, and having a great shoe company that is going to create wonderful things for you, your family, and everybody that knows you? Did you think that was even possible? And because that can be instructive for our listeners too, because if you think it's possible, and Rochelle says this really well. Say it, Rochelle.
If you believe you can, you're right. And if you believe you can't, you're right. Also, Megan, I have to extend the invitation to have you on my show when it comes out, because you said the possible word is possible. When you remember who you are, the impossible becomes I'm possible. So stay tuned, everybody, and we'll figure out how Megan did that herself.
And we came up with that name, Megan, just
yesterday.
Yesterday, and she was dancing in her chair. I don't know how she does it, but she was doing that. And it was like, remember I'm possible. Which possible.
Is remember. I love that.
Yeah. I wish I had chosen that name for her. But anyway, we'll be right back. Are you looking for your daily dose of inspiration? Stay connected to all your favorite shows, music, and news with the Brushwood Media Network app. From Positive Talk Radio to Greatest Vibes Unplugged and so many more uplifting voices around the world, everything you need is right in one place. It's easy to use, too. Always available and designed to keep you inspired 24 hours a day. Go to brushwoodmedianetwork.com and download the app, and you will always have Brushwood Media available on your smartphone. Download it now and make inspiration and music and conversation part of your everyday. And welcome back. My name is Kevin, and Rochelle is here, and this is Positive Talk. And Rochelle, our guest again is
Meghan Whitney Higney, and yes, it's actually that. Don't question me. Last name is Higney. If you have questions, Meghan Whitney Higney. She has a website, wearmessage.com, WEAR message.com. And go ahead, Megan, and give us your perspective on all the things that we said before break.
So did I think I would be sitting here in Mexico talking to you about my shoe brand Message 5 years ago? No, I mean, of course not. I couldn't have fathomed that. I was in Oakland or Piedmont. So I was in the East Bay. I'm in Northern California. And 5 years ago was when, I mean, really, it's probably when I incorporated Meghan Whitney LLC, because I didn't know what the name was going to be. But I was dreaming of this brand, and I was working hard on shoes and all the things we talked about. And I wish that I remembered what my partner Liam wrote. He took this huge piece of cardboard, because every day, I would leave the house and, get in the car in the garage, leave the house, and I would come home and be like, am I crazy? Like, have I actually lost it though? And mind you, I was just outside of San Francisco, right? And at the time just before then, I had been working in downtown SF, where, a friend of mine was the founder of Allbirds, a good friend of mine was running Rothy's. Like, this is not a crazy idea, right? A lot of people around me were shoe people, launching big and working with big thriving shoe brands. But I was like, who am I to think that I can do this entrepreneur thing? Like, I'm the gal who's behind the scenes. I build companies on behalf of other people, with them, teams, help, but they're the visionaries. I'm not creative. I started in finance, all the stories, right? But at the end of the day, what Liam wrote on this cardboard, I need to pull it up and remember it, but it was like 5 bullet points, of which the sentiment was like, it's not all or nothing, and like, kind of, what do you have to lose? And like, you're not boring, you try big things, like, basically like boring people don't even try, like, you've got this. And like, what you do is not what you're worth. And it was basically these messages trying to reinforce like the fear of stepping away from the known path onto this very, very unknown rocky terrain was one that I could step into with excitement and joy and play and fun, instead of fear and, all the things that happen when you really attach, your worth to your work in a way that's unhealthy, that I clearly had been, attached to in that way in the past. And so, could I have fathomed that I'd be in Mexico talking to you all about message? Maybe no, but actually, as I think more about the true answer to that question, is like, kind of somewhere deep down, yes, right? That's the whole point. Like, I was feeling pulled to something that said, this is just yours, Meg. I was trying to convince those friends of mine who were in the shoe business, like, come on, slides, y'all. Like, Birkenstock, great. If it's had their day, like, let's go. Let's get a new one. Like, I was pitching this to people, and my partner was like, I think maybe this one's yours. And I resisted it. But I guess, Kevin, that's the answer, is like, while I didn't know what it would look like, part of me did know that I was going to be sharing this message, and that Rochelle was about to put on her shoes, because otherwise I wouldn't have upended my whole life and gone on this path.
It's very instructive for people that are feeling that, because so many of us feel that and then say, oh no, I can't do that. Or their parents or their significant other says, no, I need you to stay doing what you're doing. And you may hate it. And you may decide that you're going to do it for 30 years and then it's too late. Feed your mission now. And I can't say that strongly enough. Rochelle, do you agree?
100%. And Megan, while you were talking, you just helped me, I think, officially come up with a title for my podcast, because you said detach what isn't possible from what is. And I could freak out. I'm not going to do the things that I do when me and Kevin are on off the show and I'm like jolting in my chair, but detach impossible to remember I'm possible. And it doesn't happen one time. It's a reoccurring thing. You probably did it every single day. You had to wake up and remember, this is me. I am possible. This is who I am. I'm not that, and I'm not whatever situation's coming. I'm not whatever has happened in the past. I am who I create this to be now. And each present moment you made that decision got you here. And someday, girl, I can't even believe
Totally.
I'm going to be traveling, doing things, living my life, and I'm going to see some billboard with the shoe, and I'm going to be
Totally.
wearing those shoes, and I'm
Totally.
going to scream,
Totally.
and I'm going to take a picture.
Totally.
And
Totally. But that's the thing, right? It's not, then I had to believe, and now I still have to, right? That's why I love talking to you right in this moment, because it's like that same thing that was driving me forward then, that thank the Lord I listened to, even though it was hard, is the same thing driving me forward when I have these visions of where this is going to go. And anyone who heard those would probably be like, again, you're crazy. Now I've done the thing. I've built the shoe. We've got so many happy customers, all the things. And still the things that I'm dreaming and scheming and seeing where this is going to be could be someone else's, you're off your rocker, but it's got to stay my belief, my truth, my North Star, that I'm pulled to it with a calling for a reason, and that it is possible, because otherwise, why would it be here for me? Why would I be feeling it? Why would I be living it? It's
so why is it working? It's working.
Why is it working? It's already happened somewhere, it's right. Like it's here. Yeah.
And the coolest thing is, Megan, is that, and Rochelle can attest to this, the show that we do now is so totally different than the show we did 2 years ago. With all of the things that we do, and your company is going to be the same. You're going to continue to innovate. You're going to continue to grow it. You're going to do great things with it. You're going to accessorize it, and you're going to have all these women things that you guys do that are really cool. And it's just going to continue for you because you've already broken through the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is, I need to be in support. I need to be in a corporate structure where they're the boss and I do what I can to help and that stuff. Now you are the boss, and you've broken that glass ceiling, and you'll never go back.
That's right. That's right.
So what is coming? What do you have planned? Tell me.
On the horizon for the brand? Oh gosh. I mean, so obviously we're coming up on our big season. So we have a couple of launches for spring and summer, but one of the things we're really excited about this year is bringing this story of Mexico and Portugal to life through the lens of, these are obviously incredible shoes for your travels. They're lightweight, they can go with everything, all the things we've talked about, but really bringing that to life through the world of message. We're going next week to Mexico City. It's Art Week, and this is our home now, and we love it so much. And we have so many people ask us, where should we go? What should we do? And so actually through the launches of the shoes, which really highlight colors that are very kind of core to our hometown and where we live, we're going to start to bring that story to life. So I think in a lot of ways right now, it's like the evolution of message has been one of telling a product story so that people trust us enough to try this beautiful shoe that I obsessed over. And now I really want to bring the brand story to life, and to start to build this world that through the lens of the brand that we care about, which is, basically that we get to walk through all of these special moments with people, on their travel, on their journey, in the in-between moments, in their daily lives. Like now we get to start to bring energy and vision and life behind that. So that'll start with the spring summer launches, and then it'll continue into the fall with some of this uniform stuff I was talking about, and merch and, playing with messages. We're going to play with words, right? That's why I named this brand Message, because the messages we tell ourselves are the most important things we can tend to in this life. I want to put that on product, right? So there's a lot.
It is important that a positive message that is visible, that you can look at every time you put your shoes on. And that is how you ingrain these things and energetically in your soul. And so congratulations, Meghan. Meghan Whitney Higney, I believe. And you are just so special. And Rochelle, you're going to get to go and get a brand new pair of shoes that is sitting on your porch.
Yes,
Safe.
yes, I cannot describe to you how calm I'm gonna be driving on the way over there to go get those. And Megan, I am
Yeah.
so honored, not only for you doing what you have done and being who you are, but to come and talk about it, to share your message, and to be able to be a part of this with you. Every time I get to put those on, I'm thinking, this is a part of my journey, and you were with me in my walk and in my footsteps of where my purpose lies at my foundation.
Exactly.
And I get to be a part of myself, knowing who I am without even having to tie it down. So thank you for
Yeah.
the time you've spent with us today, Kevin.
Thank you.
Thank you for making this possible. As always,
Yeah.
Megan, please do share with us all the ways, if not just the website, to contact you and find all of this stuff. Maybe if someone wants to work with you on their brand, and if you still are working with people, and any message you'd like to leave us with for the day.
Website is perfect. It has our socials. You can find us on Instagram. You can find me, Instagram and Substack, just Meg Higney. Feel free. I mean, that's the message, right? This is about feeling free to do what feels good to you in your life. Figure out what that means. That's the hard part. Figure out what that means and then let yourself do it. That's what message was for me, and that's what I hope it is for everyone who touches it. So feel free.
Amen.
Say.
That's very inspiring. You
Thank
are a
you.
very inspiring woman.
Thank you.
for
Thank
being
you. So are you both. Thank you so much. This was lovely.
And everybody, go get yourself a pair of these and feel the way that we do every day. When you leave your house, no matter what mood you're in, you get to put these shoes on. So wearmessage.com. That is WEAR. Oh my gosh. WEAR message.com. There's so many options, and there's so much more to come. So keep in touch with us. We'll have Megan back on the show before you possibly know it. And thank you again, Megan. I feel truly inspired by you.
Thank you so much.
And Megan, isn't she something?
See, I can't wait. I can't wait for I'm Possible.
Well, we'll have to talk about it. I'm going to remember how possible I am when I put those slides on. And you know what? I might even get so excited that I'll record myself running around on my new carpet in my new shoes, and we'll put it on the show, because why not? You know what I mean? It's a message. So thank you for sharing your message.
Like them.
And inspiring
I hope you
us
like
to do
them.
the same.
Yeah,
oh, I already do. I already do.
Awesome. Thank you.
And thank you, everybody, for paying attention today. This was a great show. We've had a great day again. And I want to thank everybody. And Megan, take care. And by the way, give that partner of yours a really big hug, because those people are golden to have in our lives.
Yep.
I will. Thank you.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
Thank you for being part of Positive Talk with Kevin McDonald, where stories inspire and voices remind us of what truly matters. May today's conversation give you hope, courage, and a reason to keep moving forward. And just remember, till next time, be kind to one another, because each other's all we've got.